Hi, welcome to the Dell Design Circle, the Thinking Forum. I'm Paul Sandip, an innovation consultant and a product designer. In 2017, Dell set out to scout the best design talent in the country through a forum called the Dell Designathon. The response was overwhelming and the journey has been spectacular, with 2 back-to-back seasons involving participants across the country. We were inspired by the response of the Dell Designathon, hence wanted to start the Thinking Forum for you, the design heads and the IT heads. In this forum, you will see how ideas are brought to reality using design thinking techniques clubbed with Dell technologies. What makes this event special is there are several eminent speakers who are going to share their experiences and journeys in this forum. We will also bring you some very engaging videos and demo sessions on Dell technologies and design thinking. To kickstart this forum, I would like to invite Mr. Srihari Palangala, Senior Director, Head of Marketing, Dell EMC.
So thank you, Sandip. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to Design Circle, the Thinking Forum, a virtual event which explores the depths of technology aided with design thinking. In today's world, one cannot look at technology and design in isolation, as both work in undisputed synchrony to turn design ideas into reality. Technology gives the perfect fulcrum to launch design ideas while giving the necessary direction to a concept. With augmented reality, cognitive technology, machine learning, and artificial intelligence ruling the technology landscape today, there is no doubt that technology and design would need to complement each other to create sustainable and innovative solutions that can solve today's problems, which could become the cornerstone of tomorrow's opportunities. We at Dell believe in automating technology using simple and flexible design and creating viable customer experiences which are seamless. Today's forum is all about empowering your creativity and knowing the best-in-class technology that can pave new ways for out-of-the-world design ideas, which has the power to create waves globally. So, thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you, Mr. Srihari, for this thought-provoking talk and directing us towards the perfect beginning of this virtual forum. For the past 20 years, Dell Precision products have provided us the right platform to convert our creative ideas and bring them to life with their high performance and fully customizable features. Let's see how Dell Precision is built for your brilliance. Wow, that was interesting, how the best of technology empowers creativity. It's time that we talk about sustainable urbanization, as it has garnered a lot of importance today. We're continuously exploring innovative ways to blend technology with design to bring solutions which aid safe and modern urbanization across the cities in the country. Be it developing a market that embraces imperfect food or cutting down human intervention in waste disposal from our ocean beds with just a click of a button. The idea is to identify the problems and address them with technology-aided design thinking. Let's hear what the next three eminent speakers have to say on this topic. They hail from different parts of the country and would like to share their experiences of technology-aided design.
Last month I was speaking to a friend of mine from San Francisco, another startup, running a startup there, and he happened to know what I do. So apart from design thinking, something we do is reading megatrends which are about to come. So he just happened to ask me, so what do you think is the next megatrend happening in corporates? I was just taken by surprise despite long study behind me. Just name came to my head is blockchain probably. Blockchain is a technology, it's not a megatrend by the way. So he says no. The next megatrend is you will very soon see a new position in the corporates called Chief Sustainability Officer, CSO. And this is going to become a mega issue across the world. So that got me thinking that moment, and happened to have this event coming up as well. Talking of textile industry right now, fashion industry is supposedly one of the biggest polluters of drinking water on earth. So this is a statistic I just found that producing one pair of jeans takes around 20,000 liters of water through its life cycle. Levi's in fact has come with an ad saying that it's okay to wash jeans once in 2 weeks. College goers are anyway doing that, but just institutionalizing the whole idea that you don't have to wash every day. And hotels we know now saying that don't use our towels, put it to wash every day. So this kind of discussions we are doing. So what is sustainability? Is it just about ecology, or is it just about resources? So there is one definition I came up. Those of you who are working on it will find some of the pointers in these important. It said that there are 4 tenets. The planet has biophysical limits, we all know that. Human and natural systems come together in cities, and they actually come in an extreme situation. There's extreme combo which exists. Inequality or equality is another important tenet of sustainability. There are some design triggers for those of you who are working on it. What world is doing right now? One of the things which is happening is there is a vertical forest. These are some examples I have picked up. Those of you from architecture or interiors would have heard about this, that China is doing everything in grand scale. In Nanjing, they have made this something called vertical forest, which is around 3,000 trees planted on this building. And it was completed in 2018, this building. So it's no longer a concept. And the counterpart to this is somebody, bright guy from Canada is actually transporting fresh air, Canadian air to the Chinese cities. That's a business idea. Sustainable or no is a question mark, but that's a need, Then there is China scale again. It's amazing that why China is being referred now in time and again on these examples and no longer any Western cities. So the large air purifier, as much as which purifies enough air for 1 million people, at least the PM10, PM2.5 and PM10 kind of particle absorption, which is creating a havoc in Delhi. This kind of large tower installation. Imagine something doing right in the center of city here. And not only this, what they're doing is the carbon collected from this tower is actually turned into a memoir, a ring. It's like a city memoir. When you go to Berlin Wall, they give you a piece of Berlin Wall, which you can put in your finger or you can just decorate in your walls. So these are some design ideas per se. The concept of a nation which exists somewhere in the space, some small satellite, you can subscribe to the nation through citizenship of that nation, and it has its own charter and thing like this. And New Zealand is giving climate refugee visa to the Pacific Islanders who have been around. And so these kind of new concepts are walking in because of the my conception of a better world, or anybody's conception. So this brings to me the last slide, which is now there are two ways to discuss sustainability, which is we can discuss the way Mahatma Gandhi discussed, that do a charkha thing and we make it locally. Make it local so that it's sustainable, so that we can stave off the British textile factories. The other one is in fact an initiative with by a friend of mine who runs a space marketing company. Space marketing, the space one, not the space one. Okay, and she is running a new initiative called City as a Spaceship. Why not? Because the kind of compaction we are living in, complexity we are living in terms of the resource crunch we are living in, why not run city like a spaceship? And that's where the optimization and the right thinking of all resources will happen. So those of you are participating and thinking through, I'm sure this city as a spaceship is a great trigger to think through in terms of what can be done with the resources, with the human emotion, with the human needs, and things like this.
Because I'm going to not talk about bigger things, I'm going to talk about the small things in life, and how being observant towards those small things in life, you can also impact in a big way. So I'll just take you through my journey of, I wasn't a designer to start with. While I was studying in school, I wanted to be a cartoonist. And I started off actually by writing short stories and anecdotes about visit to the zoo, or maybe writing about school picnics, and started illustrating them. While I was doing so, what I had in mind was that I wanted to document. I went to do my engineering from Nagpur University. So while I was doing my engineering, which was actually my dad's choice, not mine, so I was continuing my engineering studies, and I started my own pocket column in another news daily called the Lokmat Times. And I started journaling everyday happenings in the city. And at that time, Nagpur was going through a phase where a lot of changes around the city was happening. A lot of flyovers were being built, a lot of things were demolished, and a lot of trees were uprooted and placed and transplanted elsewhere. So a lot of things were happening. Early morning when I was returning back from work, I observed a very interesting thing. These newspaper guys, these roll up the papers. And you know how do they actually deliver to first, second or third floor? They fling it up. I felt that was a really tough job to do for young guys. And I kept observing them, and I felt it was something which maybe if I could do something about it. So I designed a newspaper launcher, which when you press, you could actually fling it up to the first and the second floor, not the third floor, but till the second floor. So while I was studying at NIZ, most of the times, of course, I would travel by train back home during the vacations and stuff like that. So I had to face this situation quite often because I wouldn't have a reserve ticket. So I would sneak into the toilet so that the TT won't catch me because I don't have a ticket, things like this. So I spent a whole lot of time in the toilets while traveling. And as Indians, we always use water to wash after defecation, right? We've got ample amount of water in the toilets, but we don't have anything to hold the water, right? Even if you have those chained mugs, right? So what we used to do is, cut plastic bottles or, use plastic cups or paper, coffee mugs or something like that and throw away. So what we ended up doing was that adding a lot of litter in and around that space. So I came up with an idea. Can we have a disposable toilet mug that fits into my pocket? Right? Can I have a disposable toilet mug which fits in my pocket, and when I go to the loo, after I'm done, I can just flip it open, fill it up with water, use it and throw it away. And this disintegrates. This is made out of paper and rice glue. This disintegrates about half an hour after you've thrown it away. And this is not plastic. So I started wrapping them up in packs of 3 and started circulating until I was I thought that, okay, I would not be able to do this or make this a reality if I were to do it alone, right? Because the huge network of railways, and if I wanted to cater to the railway industry, then I have to become I would say, an industry to mass produce this. So what I thought, let's train the rag pickers. They are in any case in that space, and the street vendors, the vendors on the platforms. If I could train them to make this mug, probably it will reach the end users more quickly. So I did that, and I did this trial in the Ahmedabad railway station, where because this comes out from a square piece of paper. And it's very easy to fold, and you can make the mug out of it. So this won me the award from Narendra Modi, and he actually gave me an offer from the department that I could actually test run 1 lakh pieces of it. Design thinking is a method for innovation, and it is based on 4 things: curiosity, empathy, vision, and iteration.
Let me begin with some semantic issues. A lot of people believe that the city and urbanization, the city and the urban are just about the same. They're not, right? The city is a place. The urban is a characteristic of a place. Think about the census definition of the urban in India. Any place which has more than 5,000 people, any place which has 400 people per square kilometer and more than that, any place in which more than 75% of male main workers, that is people who are working in any particular area for more than 6 months in a given year, in the last year, 75% of male main workers have to be outside of agriculture. Any such place would be called urban, right? As you're approaching the urban is a particular kind of experience, and coming into the city from above is another kind of experience. This is night lights data, which is released by NASA, of satellite images of lights at night time across the world. For the last 20 years, every single night images are taken, and that's what India looks like. Can you imagine zooming in like you came from the village into the city, like you come in from the plane, zooming in into this from the satellite? You'll just burn down. Nothing will be left of you. Right? You just can't travel at that rate. And that's the issue of sustainable urbanization. There's a way in which, when you speed up, there's a point at which that speed, that limitless growth, simply begins to envelop everything that you have. Urbanization is no longer a local matter. It is no longer a matter of a certain number of people getting out of agriculture. It is something which starts drawing resources from very, very long distances. I teach a course. Often when I teach urbanization courses, one of the early exercises that I do is an exercise called the geography of your breakfast. Right? Take apart your breakfast. You have eggs, you have bread, you have roti, you have upma, you have whatever in it. Take each element and ask, where does this come from, and put it on a map. Ask, under what soil conditions, under what labor conditions was that thing produced. And you will see that the map just goes further and farther and farther from your dining table. Every single point at which you're consuming something has networks that just go all across the planet. What you're looking in this map is a map that we created with data on buses, passengers traveling by buses, and slums in the city. And we put all of this data together by actually going one by one to each bus stop and taking the latitudes and longitudes, and then taking the bus transportation, how many passengers are actually going. You have the tickets data with the Road Transport Corporation, and we put it together to try and figure out what is the transit access in the city. and we discover something really amazing. If you look at the Road Transport Corporation bus numbers, bus number 1, 2, 3, 5, all from north to south, south to north. That's what the city was. It was a city that essentially moved from Secunderabad to Charminar and from Charminar up backwards to Secunderabad. Right? And at some point of time, the numbers begin to change. 84, 86. These are all numbers that start operating in the center of the city. And then you start seeing the expansion. But 2001, 2002, it's like this entire city has been taken by its axis and twisted. So you have this axis. What happened here? What happened here essentially is that large numbers of people are living in Dilsukh Nagar, Vanasthalipuram, Sarur Nagar, Malkajgiri, Sanikpuri, all kinds of places, but their work was somewhere on the western side. Right? Look at this road, that's the Bombay Highway. From Charminar to Bombay, the old trade route, that's the axis along which you have people now moving. And that's the route on which you get stuck, because that's the route on which the largest number of people are moving with four-wheelers. It's impossible to move there. You never know when you're going to get stuck. Our meeting right now has started 15 minutes late because I got stuck on the way here about exactly 10 minutes away from here. I just got stuck. I didn't know when I was going to even move from there. Right? How did this happen? Did this happen because of some natural factors, or did this happen because very slowly, very cumulatively, very accretively, we started doing things that added up to this situation where people cannot really live close to where they work? In the 50s, 60s, industrial areas were somewhere else, residential areas were somewhere else. The reason for that was that industrial areas, particularly manufacturing industry, is supposed to have air pollution, supposed to have effluence, right? IT industry is not like that. It's clean. And yet, people living in one place and traveling to work in the IT industry, this happens because it's not affordable to live in a particular area. How did that happen? Ask yourselves why in Hyderabad today it's so difficult for anyone to find a single bedroom house. There are no 1 BHK houses. There are not even any 2 BHK houses anywhere. Everybody builds 3 BHK houses. Because the argument is that families, people who want to buy apartments, want to invest in a house in which they can see themselves living, and they see a family, God knows for what reason, in which you have grandparents, parents, and children, right? 3 generations of people, so 3 bedrooms, and that's what everybody wants to invest in. Why they want to invest in like that, why the builders build it like that, is a mystery. But that's what we have built. Impossible for anyone to get decent, cheap housing in Hyderabad. And we just don't know how to break that problem. Is this a design problem? Do we not know how to build studio apartments? Do we not know how to design them? Do we not know how to manage the finances for this? Do we not know that there is a demand for this? How do you estimate it? How do you track down all of these things? Those are all design questions, right? That's a map of where poor people are living in Hyderabad. All the colored dots that you're seeing, they're all slums. And as you come down, the color gradation, the darkest color is where the poorest people are living. Right? Why are those pockets emerging like that? What do those locations actually mean? What is their history? Look at this place. It's an amazing innovation by poor people. It's an area called Sheikhpet, right behind Film Nagar. It's a slope of the hill, and as you come down the slope, you can see on the image on the right side top, right? The left side top corner is Filmnagar. And there's a hill slope coming down, which empties into a lake. It's called Shekpet Kottacheruvu. The hill slope is the slope on which all the drainage would come into that from Kebia Park. Now that place is completely packed with houses. It starts with houses that are built by the government, and then people start innovating. They start building their own stuff. Imagine what does it take to take water up a hill slope and bring sewage down from the hill slope. What kind of piping do you need to do? What kind of infrastructure do you need to build? What technologies do you use? How do you take waste out of that place where you don't have any possibility of putting even a garbage dumpster, where you can't take a vehicle to reach each of those houses to do door-to-door collection? What happens in places like that, right? This one, if you look at this photograph below, do you see those black tanks on top of the houses? That's water. That's how they're supplying water to themselves, right? Hyderabad city is full of these kinds of solutions where we have somehow figured out how to accommodate ourselves to extremely unreasonable situations. You survive, right? And that's what is amazing about cities. That's what makes cities really, really exciting, because people figure out how to live under the most adverse conditions. This is an image that we designed, and we actually use this as an image that inspires us. Whenever we think about infrastructure, we think of it as something which is actually upheld by people who are living in extremely precarious conditions, working below the surface, completely invisible. Think about the number of poor people in Hyderabad who are sweeping our streets to keep them clean. 21,000 women sweep the streets. Many of them work at night. Many of them work in the morning from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Many of them live in houses where drinking water is supplied between 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock, right? They manage that rhythm. They manage the rhythm of receiving water at 1 o'clock and going out onto the street to clean the streets. And that's what makes Hyderabad city the cleanest city in the country. I keep meeting a lot of executives who fly into Hyderabad, look at the streets, and they bahut khoobsurat hai, very clean. Those are the people who are actually making that infrastructure possible. And that's what disruptive technologies must actually do. That we need to begin to think about these things very differently, but we need to think about them by telling ourselves that the current modes in which we are thinking about things is somehow deeply flawed. And once we tell ourselves that the way in which we are thinking about things at the moment is probably wrong, is probably a legacy of 19th century modes of thinking, that's when we'll probably begin to see things very differently.
Amazing. So simple, yet so informative. Design thinking is actually impacting the world of design and technology big time. From generating ideas to building prototypes to even testing the products before they are produced, technology has been helping us as designers to create more accurate and appropriate design solutions. Organizations across the globe are using design thinking to create more user-centric designs and services of their products and solutions. Dell has actually captured the journey of such remarkable creations by designers and thought leaders across the industries in the country. To begin with, let us see how an eminent animator, Vaibhav Kumaresh, has created the wonderful character Lamput.
See, Lamput is a very offbeat kind of a project for me. So Lamput is one such small seed, it's not a huge story, it's a series of micro shots. It's a very small seed of an idea that basically stemmed out of unemployment. What if there is this one character that keeps morphing in his shape? And what if there are some people who are trying to grab him? So now if he is a guy who keeps morphing, who is he? did he escape from some lab or something? Was he a specimen that kept like an amoeba kind of some guy who just, so we just cooking up plots to figure out who this character is. Was looking for original content from the Asia Pacific region. Because there's no dialogue, there's no language, cartoon was so happy that they got very favorable responses from all their territories, whether it was Latin America, Europe, Africa, North America, Australia, everywhere. How to keep coming up with interesting situations and also end them well. And then there is a few of us who will finally select and work on those stories, strengthen it or visualize it our way. But it's how you tell the story that matters. If this property had a certain uniqueness, I think I soak in stuff from whatever is around me. So that's why I said that most of our work is very VC.
Lamput is actually Vaibhav's creation, but in a sense, I'm kind of like the babysitter of Lamput. So I get to teach him or add a certain personality quirk and help him grow. It's been like a roller coaster because at times it gets very tough because of the deadlines.
I think for budding designers and students, the only thing I would like to say is, get clarity on what you really love doing. Unless you're having fun, like extreme fun, your work is not going to show that.
Well, that was a wonderful creation stemming from observations from our everyday life. I always say, look, don't just see, because observation is the key to innovation. Genuine needs are often felt but seldom spelt. I'll share with you one of my such creations stemming from observations of everyday life, the angular multiplug. As a cartoonist, one observes one's everyday life very minutely. On this side I was doing engineering, on the other side I was actually working as a sub-editor, night shift. Why not try and bring them together and do something wherein I'm not just criticizing as a cartoonist, but becoming someone who is being able to give solutions to society. I believe not in selling the designer, but being the man behind the good design, so that good design reaches every nook and corner of the society. Why don't we see the spoon which we use while we eat? Why don't we use the mug while we bathe? So why don't we notice these things? That's what I have been focusing on. Probably for the past 14 years I've been very observant on things around me and tried to pick and choose, okay, let me add value and let's create something wonderful about these mundane objects. For example, if someone would approach me with, okay, can we do something about a regular multiplug? So it's not about purely styling that I do, just to make it beautiful so that the product catches your attention. I'm also looking at the functionality of the product, which would actually entice you to own it and use it again and again. The approach is actually not to redesign but to redefine. And how do you redefine a product? To redefine a product, you have to understand the core essence of the product, the soul of the product. A regular multiplug, which is a cuboid in shape, which is flat on the top and flat on the bottom, you would have observed that after a couple of times of usage, a 2-pin plug which gets loose would tend to fall off. And why is it so? Can we do something about it? Of course. That is what I try to do. Is let's give an angle. A new category of product evolved, the angular multiplug. So now we've not redesigned the product, we've redefined it, solved the problem, and we've created a new category. Well, I've been using Dell for quite a long time now, and I'm really happy and excited to use this product. It's really reliable. Innovation by observation is what I've strongly believed in. People normally tend to overlook things. So if you just look closely, things around you, you'll find solutions to problems and which you can actually help bring together and offer it to the society. I feel extremely happy whenever I see people using this product, and definitely it is one of my best creations. Let us see another story behind the creation of the wonderful Commonwealth Games pattern by designer Michael Foley, where he explores beyond the fundamentals.
I was very interested in building models, painting, and I wasn't sure where that stream would take me to, but that is something that I passionately enjoyed doing. In fact, my dad got to read about NID and I applied, and it kind of navigated down to product design. I really didn't have it planned initially, but I think it was something that was a sweet spot for me. We wanted the baton to be a symbol of India. So we found symbolism in soils. It seemed to have this whole inherent quality that you're carrying a part of India around the globe. So we looked at creating the baton using soil from all over India. We found that we managed to get the soil from every part of every corner of India within a month. Given that that was the idea, we actually wanted to look at this whole infusion of technology and craftsmanship. The idea of bringing in technology was to define India as a forward-looking country. So we brought it in multiple ways. We actually looked at a locationing system for the baton that allowed you to pinpoint the baton anywhere on the globe. And that relayed back to a website that kind of gave you the whole journey of the baton. So we had our GPS coordinates defined for the baton, and those GPS coordinates were defined to the country it was in. And based on that, we took the colors of the flags of that country and abstracted the lighting on the baton. So when the baton moved from, say, India to, say, South Africa or India to Pakistan, it kind of transformed the whole color palette on the baton based on the GPS location and the country. So we actually crafted a gold leaf that had an inscription of the entire message of the Queen. Design as a profession allows you to create fundamental change, and if it's in the right hands with the right minds, you can actually make change that is systematic, and change that can actually create a huge cascading effect. I think from a designer's perspective, it's a huge palette to kind of look at from an opportunity. And India's at that threshold where change is being accepted.
I'm sure you've enjoyed these design stories and gathered a new perspective to the varied applications of design thinking. Moving on to our next session, may I request Mr. Suhas Pingat, Field Marketing Brand Manager, Dell EMC, to share his thoughts on powering the future with Dell Precision.
Those videos really gave us some fascinating perspectives on design thinking and the associated possibilities. I would now like to talk about Dell Precision and how we can power the future. The Dell Precision, with its range of powerful and scalable solutions, include a mobile, a 2-in-1 tower, and a rack workstation, and how you can actually turn any impossibility into a reality. From augmented reality content creation to technically savvy and cost-effective cognitive technology deployment solutions, Dell Precision has them all packed in one leading portfolio. Our workstations are purpose-built to industry leaders across a wide variety of professional landscapes, from digital content creation to financial analytics, from product design to simulation. Also, every Dell Precision is engineered with the features that you need to bring your biggest ideas to life. With the latest Intel Core i and Xeon processors, discrete graphics, and support for VR and AR content creation, and the power to deploy and manage cognitive technology solutions, you've got everything you need to push the limits of your own innovation. So welcome Dell Precision into your world today.
Thank you, Suhas. Now let us see a real-time review by an eminent designer on his experience of working on a Dell Precision.
Hi, I'm Gaurav Goyal. I've been working on corporate videos and complex 3D animations for my projects for past 12 years. In my career, I have used various machines, various render engines for my project deliverables. It's been over 1.5 years. I have moved to Dell Precision 5820 Tower Workstation, and this machine has helped me yield few of the best outputs. With fast memory, next-gen graphics, and extreme performance, your ideas become limitless with this machine. And today I will show you how it powers my output and performance. Right now I'm working on a complex 3D animation, and as you can see, it gives me ideal color coverage. You will also enjoy exceptional color accuracy and consistency. It gives outstanding view. As you can see, not only it takes less time to render, also the thermal design ensures better performance, extended efficiency, and a quieter system under heavy workloads. Though the workstation delivers plenty of room for many heavy space taking projects, but you can also configure your workstation to your need with maximum storage expandability. Whenever we work on heavy projects, there are chances of machine getting crashed. But with Precision, things are a little different. It has a technology that protects your machine from potential crashes by mapping out bad memory locations. So as you can see, I'm almost done rendering my design in no time. And this is how I manage my everyday work. I have actually found a machine that helps me bring out the maximum productivity. Dell Precision helps me in every design journey I plan.
Well, that's more or less Dell Precision for you, helping you bring ideas to life. Dell Precision fits seamlessly in any work environment and provides a rock-solid foundation to any critical project. I would like to thank everyone for joining us today. Hope we've been able to bring to you some knowledge that will help you in the long run. Thank you once again.